Welcome to the Extreme Channel. I have a confession to make. I'm not Mr. X. I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm Batman.
Welcome to the Extreme Channel. My name is Mr. X, and today is a special video. It's kind of bittersweet. And the reason it's bittersweet is it has to do with this statue. It has a special place in my heart. And before we get into that, if you like stuff like this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and then give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. I'm also really annoying, so kind of a heads up on that. But you have to watch about 60 videos till you really start to like me. So after this, watch 59 more, and then you'll be good. But the reason this is so bittersweet, this is the first statue I purchased, or the first 1/3 scale. 1/3 scale means it's 3 times smaller than he'd be in real life, from Prime 1 Studios. And it's bittersweet because I'm having a lot of nostalgic feelings looking at him. In fact, when I pulled him up on the table and I studied him, and I looked at the switch outs, and I looked close at him, and I took pictures for you guys, it was intoxic. And it reminded me of that first time. And what's really killer about this is I am selling him. Mr. X, why are you selling him? Well, the realism of it is I'm going in a different direction with my collection, and I have tons of 1/3 scale Batman pieces. Not only Batman himself, but a lot of his villains and things like that. Here's a playlist, a lot of these Prime 1 1/3 scale pieces. If you're a regular follower of the channel, you've seen tons and tons of these. So I'm only keeping a few of these, going with the really high elite ones, because realistically there's about 40 between what's out now and what's coming that I would want in the collection, and that's just not realistic anymore. But so we're going to review him before we sell him to some lucky person out there. I'm going to launch a video, or the video's already launched, of all these 1/3 pieces I'm selling. I think I'm selling about 10 of them. But yeah, this piece, while I looked at it, kind of a spoiler for the review to come, he's awesome. And one of the things I like him, he's kind of that quintessential Batman. So as I said, he was manufactured by Prime Studios, and this is their Arkham Origins version of him. Arkham Origins is a video game, and from my understanding, I've never played it, but the Batman story in it is very closely to the comic Batman story. And so to me, this was the regular Batman that I had in the 1/3 scale. I had so many other ones, and you can go check those out, as I said in that card that I popped up earlier. But they made 1,050 of these, and they retailed for $950. 350 of them were what we call the exclusive version. So the exclusive version comes with an extra special thing. Here it is right here. It is essentially a Deathstroke mask. You can either put it on the base or have his hand holding it. And there are some other switch out options that all the statues, including the 700 Collector's Edition, which is what I have, come with. And we'll talk about that. And we're going to use the extreme scale to review this guy. The extreme scale is a 1 through 5 scale. If you're new to the channel, check this out. It's how my weird mind works. But before we do that, let's measure him. So widest point is right at about 13 inches, maybe a little bit more. His deepest point is probably about 14. And he is, whoa, a good 33 inches tall. Batman himself is probably closer to 26 inches or so. So let's start with concept. And when we talk about concept, I don't know the video game, so I don't know if it's accurate to that or not. And so we're just going to wing it. But all of these Prime 1 1/3 scale pieces, for the most part, some of the newer ones don't, come in a museum pose, which means he's posing for a picture. And most of them have this similar base, especially when it's Batman. Seems like Batman is always on top of a roof. There's always some type of gargoyle or cathedral type aspect going on to it. And kind of a spoiler when we get to the paint and sculpt, the base is phenomenally done. It's really good. I'm a big fan. And as we move up, we see that he has this kind of high-tech armor on. Batman always has some body armor, but this is, not necessarily high-tech, but metallic armor. And I really like it. There's some battle damage to it. You move up, you see some battle damage and some other armor. He has a few different switch outs, which, you know, some with weapons, some without. and really just showing off who he is. Very buff. You can't see a ton of the musculature because he has so much body armor on him. It's a mixed media, which means a fabric cape, which does have posable wires in it, just flowing. And he's sitting atop Gotham. And I think the thing I really like about him, as I said, this is to me, a normal Batman. Very traditional, even though it does have the aspects of the video game, where a lot of the other Batmans I had, which you've probably seen, are like Flashpoint or Freeze Batman. You're not your typical ordinary Batman. And I think my Batman Damned, here's a picture of the Batman Damned that's coming out. This will kind of be the replacement. The only Batmans I'm actually keeping are the Frank Miller Batman Returns, or the Dark Knight, sorry, not Batman Returns. And for now, I am also keeping the Batman Beyond. So concept is great. It's Batman. He's very proud. He's standing on top of a gargoyle, however, or a chapel or building. However, it's not new. So I think that's always a negative. It's not some new dynamic concept, but it's a very safe concept. So concept-wise, it is neat. It hits Batman, but it doesn't really blow up your skirt. So I think the concept is a V. It's a 3 out of 5, which is a very nice. It's done well. Now as we jump into the design, we talk about displayability. Did everything fit well? I don't even remember how many parts there are to them. However, knowing Prime 1/3 scale pieces, I'm assuming, I know the portraits come off because there's multiple portraits. His arms come off because there's some switch outs. The cape comes off. And the gargoyle wings have seam lines here, so I assume they come off. So pretty easy to put together. One of the weird things about the displayability is so much wasted space back here. I think you can see that in the camera. Here's a close-up. It's almost like a shelf you could have put something on. They could have done some kind of Easter eggs or something like that. Now with design, he does have a few different switch outs even with the collector's edition here. So first there's two portraits. Here is his stoic normal portrait, and ironically this is the one I always had displayed for the last number of years. But then when I was getting him out for the review, here's his angry portrait, which I actually am liking better. Maybe because it's different, but both are fantastic. Then he has 3 switch outs for his right arm. The first one kind of boring, he's not holding anything. Second, holding a batarang, kind of neat. But my absolute best choice is the grappling gun. I also am not a fan of the sub base they use right down here. There's this black sub base you'll get some pictures of with the paint and sculpt. Kind of not a fan on that. And how the cape fits down at the top, here's a picture of that. Not a fan of that as well. I do like the fact that it is a fabric cape, so it doesn't pull the statue down. So just like the concept, I don't think there's anything spectacular about the design. There's some pros, some cons. So for that reason, I give the design a V as well, kind of right in the middle of the road. But where the statue really shines is the paint and sculpt, and Prime 1 just knocks it out of the park with these 1/3 pieces. And honestly, this was so good. This is what got me going down that rabbit hole. And now my new rabbit hole is Transformers. But let's take a look at them, starting at the bottom here. Here's close-ups of that sub-base I was talking about. This black, I don't think it needs to be there. It could have been stone to make it look better. Almost looks like it doesn't sit flush, but it does. It's all right. But look at this building. This is phenomenal. First of all, looking at the stone on here, I like the different shades of gray and darker colors they used on it than this sandy type aspect mixed in there to give the building some age, some cracks in the stones. And we're going to see that on the top as well. Look at the Joker faces. Phenomenal. Phenomenally done. Very cool, very evil, badass. I like some of the ornate details they have in here. Those look like clovers or something like that. Pretty cool. The gargoyle is also awesome. It's more of a black color than a gray. Here's the top of the base. A lot of the same, but that's a good thing. Really quick, here's Batman's cape. It's very average. At the bottom, it's dirtied. But, and there are posable wires. It's fine. Fabric, mixed media, no big deal. Let's look at his boots here. So his boots have a lot of that dirt that you saw on his cape and you see on the base. So I like that it flows well. It tells a story. But where it really starts to kick ass is this metallic body armor. It's dented and texturized, segmented. Really, really cool. Like I said, I assume it's from the game. And this is why Batman's so badass. It reminds me of Batman vs. Superman, where Ben Affleck was really able to take down, 30 buff guys trying to save Superman's mom. Because he's built into this body armor type stuff. And as you move up, you see a little bit of the clothing behind it, but on top of it, again, it's not metallic anymore, but it's definitely body armor and pads. Some of it has cuts in it. See kind of the rivets that hold it together. See his crotch area kind of texturized down there. Nothing protecting his crotch, which is surprising. If I was one of Joker's henchmen, I'd just go after that. I actually really like his Bat utility belt here. Not your traditional yellow. I like how it's faded. There's apparently some bombs and pouches. Metallic faded. I like that a lot. Adds more darkness to the statue, but it gives it good contrast with the majority of the costume being black and gray. Check out his torso body armor. Again, very well done. You can still see a little bit of musculature behind some of this body armor throughout. He has good physique at least. I like the different colors of the grays and blacks they used. The bat symbol, a little bit faded, a little bit more long than you're traditionally used to. Check out his arms. The top part, again, has some of the shoulder pads, and it almost looks like straps that look like fabric, but they're not. They're sculpted. Very, very cool. Then his arms, these huge gauntlets with these bat blades on them, and they're actually very sharp. Very, very cool contrast. Kind of has these metallic knuckles, brass knuckles. Take a look at the grappling hook gun. I like this a lot. It's definitely my choice, as I said, to display it with. Here's some more close-ups of the portrait. This is fantastic. We'll look at both of them here. The cowl is pretty similar on both. A few folds in it, very clean. I like the length of his ears. You can see his bat ears. You can also see his ears behind it. You can see a few wrinkles above his eyes. This is his angry portrait. The eyes look fantastic. The paint is great. And then look at this portrait. The paint tones on the skin, the expression, the paint around the teeth and the mouth, the 5 o'clock shadow, everything is just phenomenal on this. And it's not only on this angry expression here, but the more stoic expression. They did such a good job on these portraits. On the entire statue, really. So, phenomenal paint, phenomenal sculpt. I'm trying to find something wrong with either of them. I can't think of anything wrong, and if that's the case, I think they both need to be an X, a 5 out of 5. Kind of shocks me. Kind of makes me sad that I'm selling this. Also, a new category we recently added was value. So, do you get value? This is a huge 1/3 piece with out-of-the-world paint, out-of-the-world sculpt of a very popular character. I think for $950, yeah, the value is an X as well. So overall, where does that rate him? I don't think he's an extreme statue. He doesn't get the X factor overall. But because he's kind of in the boring pose and nothing new that's been done. But I do think he's a rail. A rail, if you're new to the channel, is not a grail, but a statue that people really want. Especially if you're going with only one 1/3 Batman in your collection. To me, this is the way to go. So that doesn't explain why I'm selling him. I guess I'm selling him because I'm still going to keep 2 or 3 Batmans. But awesome, awesome piece. I got a comment once, okay, this is a sell-off review, so you're just pumping them up. Go watch this one right here. Trust me, I tell it like it is. I have no dog in this fight. on how much money I make or don't make from him. Another thing too about the Prime 1/3 pieces is typically they don't hold their value. I can't remember how much to sell them for. I have it written down, but you'll see on that video when I maybe I already launched it, or maybe I'm launching it after this. So, but appreciate you guys watching. Again, give me that comment below on your favorite 1/3 Batman piece that's out there. Most of them are Prime 1, even though Iron Studios was pretty damn good. So thanks for watching. Take care.